Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Whisper, and today what I have for you guys is a CSGO discussion video. I haven't made one of these since like back in March, maybe April. My first one was talking about prime matchmaking, and today what I wanted to talk about was something that I only recently realized might have happened in some of my previous and older games, and I don't know if this is a new recent trend, but in the past 8 games I ran into boosters, and these boosters have this new strategy. I don't know if this is new. Like I said, I thought I might have ran into it a couple times in the past, but I can't be 100% for sure that this is something that I ran into past. But it's like a method of boosting that they have, and I wanted to talk about it. So this new method of boosting is actually kind of simple, but at the same time a little bit more complex than other methods of boosting. Pretty much what the booster does is he gets into a lobby, and he invites 2 people that he's planning on boosting, and then he invites 2 friends of his that are either D-rankers or Smurfs who want to D-rank their account, right? And then they get into the game and they go a few rounds, and then they end up kicking the D-ranker players or the Smurf players, or they end up just leaving and getting a cooldown. And so what this effectively does is it makes it a 3v5. Now, this doesn't make any sense at first, and I actually didn't think about it at first, but then it only recently came to me that I might have experienced this in the past. But pretty much you have to kill the booster 3 times in order to win each round, because he'll have the 2 bottom fraggers, because let's be real, he'll be on the top, he'll be dropping 30 or 40 kills. He'll have the 2 bottom fraggers just, play the game, they won't take the bots, and then he'll end up taking the bots, and you effectively have to kill him 3 times. And when you're playing at a rank that I'm playing at, like Nova 2, Nova 3, people don't have good aim. I think about this a little bit, but when you play at a lower level, you can clearly see something. There's kind of a trend, in my opinion, specifically in the Nova range, is that people are good enough in one aspect to reach the rank that they're at, but not good enough in the other aspect. That's why they're not climbing. So for example, you could have somebody who has godlike aim, but has no game sense and gets outplayed all the time. That shit happens to me. I've seen people like that. People who aim at levels of LEM, LE, stuff like that. They just hit crazy one taps and stuff, and it's actually really crazy, but they lack common sense and don't check corners often, or they miss players that are clearly in their line of sight, stuff like that. But I digress. Anyways, let's get back onto the topic. So 2 of my recent 8 games have had this player, and of course you can't exactly tell that this player was necessarily doing this. You can't 100% see that, because when you get a bot on your team, instead of showing, the bot at the end of the game, it'll show the 2 bottom fraggers who ended up leaving the game. And in one case, they had I think it was around 4 kills, because they ended up kicking them at round 5, or they ended up quitting around round 5. I don't remember exactly what it was. And then the other one, they actually picked up 12, 14 kills before their teammates ended up kicking them or quitting. And the top fragger in both of those games ended up with numerous amounts of kills. And actually now I'm realizing it is that in the game that they picked up 14 kills or so, I'm actually pretty sure the enemies were on CT side, and so they played CT side with their, bad teammates, or their bad teammates, the teammates that they wanted to play with, and then they ended up kicking them to go to T side. And I want to get into this, is that CT side with this boosting method is actually awful. It's horrible for them. They cannot hold a site. And I'm gonna get into that. So let's go ahead and talk about this boosting method when it comes to in-game gameplay, in my opinion. So on T side, the terrorist can wreck shit. The booster picks up numerous amounts of kills, can do a lot of work for his team, because he can die, he can pick up a bot. Even in the games that I was playing, like I said, the top fragger dropped 40 kills only on him. He didn't, this is not counting the bots or anything like that. He picked up 40 kills. So just let that sink in. That's a lot of kills for just one person, but not to mention all the bot kills that he got. And of course you can't exactly count those because of the end game. So T side is so much easier for him because he has an AK, obviously. So he can pretty much one tap you. He can do a lot more damage than you can. He'll pretty much win most of the gunfights and skirmishes with you. And even if he loses them, then he'll be able to take control of the bot and get another AK, whether it be from his teammate, or whether the bot has one, or whether he picks up the AK off of his dead body. And pretty much he'll wreck face most of T side. But with every good comes a bad, or in this case, a bad for the booster, but a good for the CS community, is that CT side playing this strategy is actually awful. Like, it's actually horrible for the booster, because at any given time, it will always be a 3v5 for him, because as long as terrorists push something together, like they push 5 on B, 5 on A, 5 on mid, 5 on Ivy, 5 on wherever the hell you want to go, it will be extremely difficult to win a full-on trade, specifically because most of the time you'll have the bots sitting in spawn, so it'll be like 1 on one site, 2 on another site, or maybe 1 on one site, 1 on another site, 1 on mid, and it'll just be extremely difficult to win CT side, like any round. Even if you're a skilled aim, you can assume that you're going to be in a 1v5 situation by the end, maybe a 2v5, maybe a 3v5, of course, if your teammates don't die, but since you're boosting them, you can't really rely on them, and they're probably going to be aids. Like I said before, I played a game recently where the top fragger got 40 kills. The top fragger had one of his teammates disconnect, and the other one was ended up like kicked or disconnected as well, and they'd gotten like a penalty that was like longer than you would expect, right? So he was able to take control of the bots, and they played T-side first, and they went up 10-5 to us. And then we switched, and my teammates and I went on to T-side, and we were able to clutch it out by calling rush strategies. We rushed a lot of different locations. It was on trains, so we rushed like B, we would smoke off and then just like straight up rush, or we'd smoke A and then we'd straight up rush, or we'd have like 2 go Ivy and 3 go through like A main, and we were able to win the game because we pulled this rush strategy, and at any given time, we would always be winning a fight. We would always be in a winning fight. There were a couple rounds where we lost to like one of the like bottom fraggers ended up picking up like 2 or 3 kills at Ivy, stuff like that. It happened, but we were able to win the game 16-14. It was close, obviously, because the booster, it was like really good, even though he wasn't able to clutch it out. He was still playing a lot better than any of us were, but we were still able to win the game because we ended up getting to play T-side second half. So addressing the second game that I played a few days ago, where I ended up running into a top fragger who did the same thing that the top fragger from the previous game had done. He pretty much, instead of playing a few rounds and then kicking his teammates or having them quit, he ended up playing the first 10 rounds of CT side and then ended up kicking them, or then ended up like having them leave, and then played the rest of the match and was able to, I think it was 16-7 us. Because they won most of CT side because they were playing a 5v5, and then T side, they just completely fucking whooped us. Like, they were able to play a lot better because they had a top fragger who was like nutty and could hit like crazy shots, and we just couldn't hold because we'd kill him once and then he would just take control of the bot and would whoop us. Again, the guy picked up 40 frags, like I was saying. So that addresses that. And that addresses like pretty much what I wanted to cover in this video, was talking about this new method. I don't know if this is new. I keep saying this is a new method, but in reality, I don't know for sure if this is just like something old that like people have like kind of influx doing, because I've never run into boosters like frequently up until like now. In like 8 games, if you run into them 2 of those games, like that's a quarter of your games, but we're not assuming that that's gonna like stay up to date, but that's still quite a bit to run into. It might just be my bad luck, but I wanted to talk about this because I thought it was interesting, and I didn't even think this would be like a valid like idea or way of boosting, but it's actually pretty good on T side, but it's like completely awful on CT side. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna try and make another video. I don't know if it's gonna be a people you meet playing CSGO or a story video, but hopefully that'll be out in the next couple days. Thank you guys for watching this commentary video. My name is Whisper, and I'm out. Peace.